The disciples gathered under the shade of the Bodhi tree, the air vibrant with anticipation and serene tranquility. Buddha's gaze rested softly upon them, his presence calming as the gentle rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. Awareness is the foundation of self-compassion, Buddha began, his voice soothing yet firm, guiding their thoughts as the sun guides the day. Each moment is an opportunity to awaken to yourself, he continued, his words weaving through their hearts like threads of light. Ananda leaned forward, his expression reflective, and asked, Master, how can we begin this awakening? What steps shall we take today? Buddha's smile was kind, yet filled with the wisdom of countless lifetimes. Begin with breath, my dear Ananda, he said. The breath is a sacred path, Buddha continued, his words carving clarity within their minds like a river-shaped stone. Observe each inhale, each exhale, without judgment or expectation. Feel how life flows through you. Rahul looked uncertain, shadows of doubt flickering across his face. But, Master, my thoughts distract me, he confessed. Buddha's voice took on a warm, reassuring tone, embracing Rahul's vulnerability. Thoughts are companions, not enemies, Buddha said. When thoughts rise like stormy waves, observe them without resistance, he explained, his hands motioning the fluid grace of the river. Do not drown in them, nor strive to dismiss them. Just notice them, as you might the passing clouds. Rahul nodded, his expression softening, as Buddha's wisdom illuminated the path before him like dawn dispels darkness. Sundari then spoke, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Master, my heart bears heavy pain, she said. Buddha turned towards Sundari, his gaze steady, his presence grounding her like the roots of the Bodhi tree. Pain is part of your humanity, Buddha said, his words gentle yet profound, reaching toward the depths of her suffering. When pain arises, embrace it softly. Whisper to yourself, I suffer, but I am part of humanity's shared experience, Buddha taught. The disciples shifted in their places, absorbing Buddha's teaching like flowers drinking sunlight after a long rain. Compassion begins with acknowledgement, Buddha continued, his voice weaving through their souls like music. Hold your pain as a parent cradles their child, with infinite tenderness. Sundari nodded, her breathing steadier, her gaze gaining strength like a sunrise over distant mountains. Buddha reached toward the heart of their question, his words growing more precise, his tone more resolute. Morning is a sacred time to nurture awareness, Buddha explained. Each day begins anew, offering you a fresh canvas. Find a quiet place, Buddha instructed, his eyes radiating the calmness of the stars in night's dark embrace. Sit with stillness as your companion. The disciples listened intently, their spirits responding like ripples to a pebble tossed gently into water. In your stillness, acknowledge every emotion, every thought as an integral part of your journey, Buddha said, his wisdom shedding light upon their inner shadows. You are neither your sorrows nor your triumphs, but the witness to both. Ananda asked again, his curiosity blooming as if stirred by spring's arrival. How can awareness transform our hearts? Master? Buddha's reply flowed naturally, connecting each thought like the strands of silk spun by the spider. Awareness is the fertile soil where compassion grows, Buddha began, his voice resonating deeply within their beings. Through awareness, we nurture understanding, and through understanding, we offer forgiveness to ourselves. Ananda's gaze brightened, his soul settling like a bird finding its perch. The Bodhi tree seemed to echo Buddha's teachings, its leaves whispering subtle affirmations as the disciples practiced their breaths. Recognize your suffering, Buddha instructed, his tone encouraging, lifting them gently like the warmth of a summer breeze. Recognize your joys, Buddha continued, his wisdom expanding like the vast heavens above the forest. Observe both equally, without grasping or rejecting either. The disciples breathed deeply, feeling his words infuse them with purpose like rivers enriched by the rains. Compassion is your natural state, obscured only by the dust of distraction and self-judgment, Buddha explained. His wisdom like water washing over parched earth. Rahul raised his hand, his expression thoughtful, his voice steady. How do we remove this dust? Buddha's voice grew softer, yet its strength resonated more profoundly. You do not fight the dust, Buddha said, his gaze illuminating Rahul's struggle. You let the winds of stillness clear it gently. Sundari reflected deeply, her heart buoyed by Buddha's teachings like a fragile seed sprouting within fertile soil. Master, when doubt clouds our minds, how do we persist? She asked. Buddha answered, his tone unwavering yet compassionate. Doubt is the shadow cast by knowledge-seeking light, Buddha said. Do not resist it, nor fear it. The disciples listened keenly, their eyes shining like stars emerging from twilight's veil. Within doubt lies the seed of deeper understanding, Buddha explained. When doubt arises, hold it gently, as you hold your fragile hopes. Sundari smiled softly, her gaze turning inward toward her newfound courage. Each day offers a new opportunity to awaken. Buddha reminded them, his presence eternal as the rhythmic tides of the ocean. Remember these teachings as the dawn remembers the night. His words wrapped around their hearts, like the embrace of warm light. The disciples practiced with renewed determination, their breaths steady, their minds calm, their spirits reflecting Buddha's compassion. Buddha observed silently, his gaze a gentle affirmation of their growth. Through awareness, compassion takes root, Buddha said. Through practice, it flourishes, bringing peace and harmony to your lives. Rahul whispered his gratitude silently. Sundari smiled softly, and Ananda breathed deeply, their hearts united in purpose. The Bodhi tree stood witness to their journey, each leaf holding Buddha's teachings as a sacred memory. And as day turned to night, the disciples held firm to the sacred lessons imparted by Buddha. Another day, another journey into the depths of wisdom began under the ancient canopy of the Bodhi tree's shade. The sparrow chirped nearby, its wing bandaged and healing slowly, a reminder of the interconnected web of existence. Buddha spoke gently, his voice harmonizing with the rustling leaves. Self-compassion blooms when we tend to our wounds with care and patience. The disciples listened intently, their eyes reflecting the light of understanding that Buddha's words had begun to ignite within them. Buddha gestured toward the sparrow, nestled safely within its shelter. This creature teaches us about the fragility of life. Sundari knelt near the bird, her gaze tender, as if recognizing the reflection of her struggles within its frail form. Every being carries its own scars, Buddha continued, his voice steady, resonating with the stillness of the moment. These scars are not marks of failure but testimonies of survival and growth. Ananda raised a question, his curiosity a bridge extending toward deeper wisdom. Master, how do we heal scars we cannot see? He asked, his tone laced with earnestness and a hint of confusion. Buddha's smile radiated warmth, a solace to the lingering doubts that shadowed Ananda's mind. Through kindness. Ananda, Buddha replied, kindness is the balm that soothes unseen wounds. The bridge that connects pain to healing, Buddha explained, his words flowing effortlessly. When you feel unworthy, speak to yourself as you would to this bird, gently, lovingly, without judgment. Rahul, observing the sparrow, spoke with uncertainty, but Master, what if the wounds run too deep for healing? Buddha knelt beside the bird, his presence grounding Rahul's fears like a gentle hand upon a trembling shoulder. Even the deepest wounds respond to care, Buddha said, his tone carrying both certainty and compassion. Healing is not swift, it unfolds in its own time. The disciples absorbed his words, their breaths synchronizing with the rhythm of Buddha's teachings, each act of kindness toward yourself is a step toward wholeness, Buddha continued, his voice resonating like a sacred mantra. Every time you falter, remind yourself that faltering is part of walking. Forgive yourself without hesitation. The sparrow fluttered its wings slightly, its movements tentative yet hopeful, a reflection of the disciple's own tentative growth. Sundari asked, her voice trembling, Master, how can we forgive when guilt feels insurmountable? Buddha's gaze settled on Sundari, his eyes a wellspring of empathy that sought to soothe her inner turmoil. Guilt is a burden we often carry unnecessarily, Buddha began, his tone inviting reflection. To forgive yourself, recognize that imperfection is your birthright. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend, Buddha advised, his words simple yet profound. Say, I am human, and I am enough. Sundari nodded slowly, her expression softening as the weight of her guilt began to lift like morning mist. Buddha turned his attention to the group, his gaze encompassing their collective struggles, their shared humanity. When you nurture another, as you have nurtured this bird, you nurture yourself, Buddha said, his voice imbued with timeless wisdom. Each act of care strengthens the thread of compassion that binds us all, Buddha continued, his words weaving through their hearts. Ananda observed the sparrow and asked, Master, can we learn to extend this care to those who hurt us? Buddha's response was measured, his tone reflecting the depth of his contemplation. Compassion toward others begins with compassion toward yourself, Buddha said. Only when your cup is full can it overflow to others. Rahul pondered Buddha's words, then asked, Master, how do we sustain this practice in a world filled with distractions and demands? Buddha rose to his feet, his movements deliberate, his presence anchoring the disciples in the present moment. Return to the breath, the anchor that steadies you amidst the tides of life, Buddha instructed, his guidance unwavering. Let each breath remind you of the infinite patience the universe extends toward your existence. The disciples practiced this guidance, their breaths growing deeper, their minds settling like leaves resting upon still waters. The sparrow chirped softly, a song of gratitude that echoed the disciples' own burgeoning self-compassion. Buddha spoke again, his voice gentle yet firm. Compassion is both a practice and a habit, cultivated through repeated intention. The disciples nodded, their spirits resonating with the simplicity and profundity of his teachings. Reflect upon the sparrow's journey, Buddha said. Its recovery teaches us that healing is not linear but cyclical. Sundari whispered softly, as if to herself, every wound has its rhythm of healing. Buddha smiled, his eyes reflecting the light of her realization. Yes, Sundari, and every soul carries the wisdom to discern that rhythm within. The disciples remained silent, their hearts swelling with the understanding Buddha's words had planted. The sparrow fluttered its wings again, stronger this time, a promise of its imminent flight into freedom. Buddha gestured toward it, saying, its flight will remind us of the resilience we all possess. Like the sparrow, you are capable of soaring beyond the confines of your suffering, Buddha continued, his voice uplifting. Trust in your capacity to rise, to heal, and to embrace life with open arms. As night descended, the sparrow's chirps turned into soft coos, a lullaby for the disciples' weary souls. They sat in stillness, their breaths syncing with the sparrow's rhythm, their hearts embodying Buddha's teachings. Buddha gazed at the moonlit sky and said, the moon does not judge its reflection in the water. Be like the moon, Buddha concluded, his voice fading gently into the night's embrace. The disciples carried his words within, seeds of compassion sown deeply into the soil of their beings. Another day, another lesson unfolded under the sky's gentle embrace. Where the disciples gathered by the flowing riverbank, Buddha's presence radiated serenity, his gaze as steady as the river's current, guiding them into their practice. Buddha spoke softly, his voice blending with the water's murmur. Self-compassion reflects the clarity of the river that embraces all. Sundari gazed at the river's surface, its depths inviting reflection, its movements reminding her of the flow of life, like the river mirrors all without judgment. Learn to see your flaws and strengths with equal acceptance, Buddha continued patiently. Ananda knelt close to the river, his hands grazing its cool surface, his curiosity sparking his question, Master, how do we maintain clarity when our thoughts muddle the waters of our minds? He asked earnestly. Buddha's smile carried wisdom, his voice a balm for Ananda's uncertainties. Clarity comes through patience, Ananda, and through repeated practice, Buddha explained. When thoughts rise like ripples, observe them without reacting. Let them pass as clouds drift across the sky, Buddha said. Rahul glanced at his reflection in the water, his brow furrowed with self-doubt as he voiced his struggle. Master, my reflection feels distorted by my fears, Rahul confessed, his vulnerability mirrored in his trembling voice. Buddha's gaze settled on him, unwavering, his words steady as the river's flow. Fears are shadows seeking light, Buddha responded. Do not fight your fears but hold them gently. As the river holds fallen leaves within its embrace, Buddha said. Sundari's breath grew deeper as she absorbed Buddha's wisdom, her heart finding solace in his teachings. When the river flows freely, it reveals its depth, Buddha continued, his tone encouraging them to delve into their inner world. When you silence self-criticism, you discover the treasure of your innate compassion waiting to emerge. Sundari spoke softly, her question emerging from a place of introspection. Master, how do we sustain compassion in times of hardship? Buddha gestured toward the river, his gaze serene as it followed its movements. Hardship tests the strength of your compassion. Buddha began, his voice carrying the weight of timeless truth. Let hardship deepen your understanding. Ananda observed the river's currents and asked, Master, can we become like the river in our view of ourselves? Buddha nodded, his expression reflecting the unity between his words and the river's truth. Yes, Ananda, the river mirrors equanimity, Buddha said. Learn to embrace each thought, each emotion, as water embraces the stone within its flow. Rahul stared at his reflection once more, his thoughts finding peace in Buddha's simple yet profound guidance. But Master, when pain feels overwhelming, how do we soothe ourselves? Rahul asked, his voice carrying the weight of his burdens. Buddha reached out, his hand resting lightly upon Rahul's shoulder, grounding him in the present moment. Pain asks for recognition, not denial, Buddha said. Speak to your pain softly, I see you. I am with you. The river shimmered beneath the rising sun, its surface a canvas painted with sunlight's gentle strokes. Sundari spoke again, her tone reflective. Master, how do we grow compassion toward others while nurturing ourselves? Buddha's gaze encompassed Sundari's question, his answer bridging her inquiry with eternal wisdom. Compassion toward others is born from the fullness of self-compassion, Buddha said. Give to yourself as you wish to give others, like the river that nourishes all life along its banks. Let your love flow outward without judgment or condition, Buddha explained. Ananda's thoughts turned inward as he reflected deeply on the interconnectedness Buddha revealed. Through his teachings, Master, is self-compassion our path to discovering the nature of enlightenment? Ananda asked, his voice filled with wonder and eagerness. Buddha's voice resonated more deeply. The cadence of his words aligned with the rhythm of the river. Self-compassion illuminates the gateway to enlightenment, Buddha said. Through understanding yourself, you understand the unity connecting all beings. The disciples sat silently, their breaths synchronizing with the river's flow. each heart resonating with Buddha's gentle wisdom. Sundari whispered softly, as if speaking to her own reflection, "Master, the river teaches us to hold and release with grace." Buddha's smile reflected her realization, his words affirming her growth. "Yes, Sundari, the river's wisdom flows into your being." Each disciple gazed at the river, its movements inspiring newfound clarity and commitment toward their inner journey. Rahul asked, his tone steadier now, "Master, how do we remember your teachings each day?" Buddha rose, his movements fluid and deliberate, his presence anchoring them like the roots of the trees by the riverbank. "Remember the rhythm of the river," Buddha said. "Its constancy reminds us of life's natural flow and renewal." The disciples practiced in silence, their breaths deep, their hearts calm, their reflections guided by the river's timeless teachings. Buddha observed, his gaze unwavering, his presence a gentle affirmation of their journey toward compassion. "When you falter, return to the river's lesson," Buddha reminded them. "It flows, it endures, and it holds everything without judgment." The disciples breathed deeply, their understanding blossoming like flowers nourished by the river's steady waters. As the sun ascended further, painting the river with hues of gold and light, Buddha spoke his final words. "Compassion is the river that unites all beings, all struggles, and all joys within its boundless flow," Buddha said. The disciples remained by the river, its teachings etched into their hearts, its reflections guiding their thoughts toward compassion. The day gave way to night, yet the river's wisdom flowed eternally within them, sustaining their practice in its timeless embrace. The evening stretched on, the sky now a deep indigo, scattered with stars that seemed to echo the Buddha's luminous teachings. As the lamp's flame finally dwindled and went out, the disciples remained, their hearts illuminated by a light that would never fade. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.